My name is Ben Allen. I'm principal of Allen CIO. We work with manufacturing businesses along the Colorado Front Range and help them scale using proper implementation of technology. It's really IT strategy and technology oversight. Today, I have Art Bierschbach joining us. He's a leader in the manufacturing industry, and I thought it would make great sense to interview him and have him tell you what makes his services unique. So, Art, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate the opportunity.
I want to jump into your website. You have B10 Consulting, that's BTEN consulting.com, and at the top of the page, it talks about that you are a business wingman. What does that mean?
Well, I come from an Air Force background. I flew as an instructor pilot in the F-111 quite a bit, and I flew as a wingman to help make flight leads better. That's what I do with business leaders. I accompany them, I coach, I encourage, and along the way, in trying to make better leaders, sometimes we identify threats. In the business world, a threat is a problem. So we identify and kill threats, and we use the problem-solving tool set of the business world. We use Lean, we use Six Sigma, we can use theory of constraints, whatever's appropriate to the situation. But a large part of any improvement project has to be leading change because you need people to do things differently to get a different result.
Tell me about a project that you've done in the manufacturing industry that takes into account your leadership training skills.
Yeah, one particular project I'm very proud of was over in Scotland. They brought me over to look at their operation, look for a new building, and find the best way to lay out the new shop floor. And as I looked at the building, I went through the books and looked at the P&L and the balance sheet, it became clear on the shop floor that they did not need a new building. So we started a program that was really dual pronged. On the shop floor, we implemented Lean. And the team got on board, and that was really a tremendous success. But just as importantly, we had some work to do in the front office. The owner had to start delegating, learn to let go a little bit. Everything was held up because everything had to go through the owner. And his people were a little frustrated because they didn't feel they were being used to their full capabilities to the best advantage. So we started the owner delegating, got a little more hands off. His people got enthused. And I'll never forget, 6 months later, we're standing on the shop floor. I've already been up to the front office that morning. Things are moving. The owner doesn't have to be there every second. His stress level is way down. And we're standing on a shop floor that is about a third empty. And things are moving along, pretty calm. And he turns to me and goes, you know, throughput is up 40%. That was in 6 months. And that's why I'm in this business. I got a thrill that went through me, honest to God. And I'll just never forget that feeling that I made a difference here. These people are doing well. Yeah, someday they're going to need a new building, but now they know how to grow. And the owner's delegating, and the people are just so much happier. It was really, I really enjoyed that project.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
I'm curious, can you give me maybe one of the tips on how did you get that owner to learn to delegate? That's a really difficult thing, is changing the mindset of an owner. How do you pull off something like that?
It really is. And part of it involved, he had just gotten to the point where he was so stressed, it was affecting his health. And he really didn't know what to do. Now, one huge advantage is he had a disc project, another consultant come in and run disc and do the personality profiles. So for me, that was a huge advantage because I could look at the disc reports and start to understand why people were responding the way they were. And it helps to talk to them in a little bit of the language they understand. So I lean in their direction. I can't change me. I am who I am, but I can certainly lean in another person's direction. So if relationships are important to them, I can take a minute and talk about relationships and how things are between the two of us and reaffirm that relationship before we get down to business. And they're a lot more comfortable. So these are all, little things I could do, but the really big thing was sitting down with the owner and really making sure you understood, things aren't moving forward and you are stressed because you're trying to do everything. You can do everything better than your people can, but you can't do everything. So let's focus on you doing what only you can do and delegating anything somebody else can do 70% as well as you can, because that'll help them learn, they'll get better, and then you can focus on the things that only you can do in the business. So we had him thinking in terms of, longer term strategy and key customers, and letting the people do those day-to-day things that get, today's business done, because that's not where an owner should be focusing. An owner should have his business or her business to the point where she can go away for 2 weeks and nothing stops. Everything just keeps clicking along. And those are the businesses I love to help build.
I like that. And I think what I just heard you say is really that that particular leader learned how to work less, and there was less stress,
Yeah.
and there was more success
Yes.
in that whole thing, which is, it is true that it's a very common theme with the business leaders that run into that. And it's so interesting that the answer really is that it's not about working harder. That's the opposite of the right answer.
You got it exactly right. This particular owner was part of he sent his kids to a religious school in the community, and part of the responsibility was the parents shared the tasks of driving the bus and getting kids to school and helping with lunches, and that's one way they kept costs down. And he was so much happier when he could go do those things, because that's really what was important to him. But he kept having to cancel and get a sub beforehand because he didn't feel he could be away from the business. And we got him to the point where he could do those things that were important to him and his family and spend more family time, and the business was actually getting better when he did it.
Yeah. To just stay on that leadership focus for a moment, because it's you've shared a lot of advice over the short period of time that I've known you. But when we talk about business leaders, can you give me an example of how you like to work with business leaders to make them become better leaders?
Yeah, I really like working with the business leaders that want to take care of their company. The company, for most business leaders, is a family, and they care greatly that they take care of those people, but they get to a place where they can't do it all. They keep trying to do it, and the business stagnates. They're not growing. They're not improving. Competition starts to eat at them. And that's really when they need to be stepping back, delegating, growing their teams. The most important thing a leader can do is develop their team and develop leaders on that team so they don't need to do it all. And they do that by first valuing people. And these leaders do. They really understand they need to value people, but they just usually don't know how to let go. And they know they can do everything better than their people can, but they can't do everything. So they have to learn to delegate and develop their people. And I think that's when an owner finally realizes that, then we can really start moving forward. We can start developing the leadership on their team. We can start getting her out of the day-to-day business and into, instead of being in the business, work on the business.
I like that. It resonates with me very well from the business that I had for 20 years, where that was a constant struggle of my own, that I wanted to do everything. I couldn't do everything. And you cannot succeed and grow your business until you figure out the answer to that problem.
Absolutely.
If you, I think the thing that I would like to just close with is the question around what kind of what could someone like myself or others, if we come across a business leader, it sounds like if they're stressed, but what is the best way to recommend you to a business leader or owner so that you can have an opportunity to talk with them and see if they can utilize your services?
Sure. I believe I should show I can add value before I ask for money. So that first thing is always just complimentary. I'll come in, I'll talk at a staff meeting. If they want to, buy coffee and donuts or, lunch or whatever we can do, we can address a topic of concern to them and we'll talk about it. I'll customize something and do about an hour. And I'll end up with a question that, did I add value? Did I provide something that adds value to you? And if the answer is yes from the team, I ask the decision maker for 15 minutes to talk about what else can I do? What are the opportunities I see? How can we add value to your business and take some of the load off your shoulders and give her time to spend with the kids or take a 2-week vacation or something that the business owner hasn't been able to do in literally years.
Like that.
Yeah.
Art, thanks so much. I appreciate you joining us today.
Thanks for your time. I enjoyed it. Great opportunity.
Have a great day.
Ben.